Let me ask you one more question.
Hit
Just
me.
just curious before we end the show. What is more of a priority, in your opinion, to add to this team? A top six winger or a top four defenseman? And when I say top four defenseman, I mean like a Jacob Chikrin. And when I mean like a top six winger, like I mean like a Kane or a Tarasenko or one of those big guys. This group, this group specifically, which piece pushes them farther? I think it's more of a question than it's ever been. I do.
That is a very solid question. Okay. I'm just going to list off some names here. So on the left side of our defense, we have Ryan Lindgren and Keandre Miller. If we add Chikrin, who plays the third pair? Hypothetically, if we add Chikrin, who gets moved down to the third pair? Or does Chikrin get moved down to the third pair? On the right side, you have Jacob Trouba, who, dear God, I hate that contract. And you have Adam Fox, who, in my opinion, is back to playing at a Norris level. Do we add someone? I think it's more realistic to add someone on that side. But at the same time, you have Schneider, who, honestly, let's be honest, in a sheltered role, he's playing freaking great this season. And you have, terrible Jacob Trouba in front of the freaking net. $8 million a year. Give me a freaking break. So the question becomes, who comes out of the lineup? Because like you said earlier, Harper has actually been okay in a third pair role. He's been okay. I don't want to take him out of the lineup and put Libor Hayek or Zach Jones back in. And I have nothing against Zach Jones. It's just, we tried it. It hasn't worked. Now
it's a black hole. It is.
Yeah,
Jacob Trouba is a black hole on this defense on that right side, second pair.
Only problem is if you bring somebody in, like you just named him captain, you're not trading him yet. That's the only thing. And if you look at the top six winger position, you have Panarin, Lafreniere, and Kreider on the left side. You're not adding a top six left winger. Right wing, now that's a question because you're looking at Jimmy Vesey, Capo Caco, Vitaly Kravtsov, and whatever the hell they put out on fourth line right wing.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's the most realistic. Now, to answer your question, finally, give me a top six winger all day because ever since they traded Pavel Buchnevich, right wing, there has been a hole on at least one line ever since. They want, okay. You know, and everyone who's listened to the show knows how much I hate that trade and how much I still hate that trade and how worse it is getting by the day. But the fact of the matter is, they haven't solved that problem yet since they made the trade.
Mm.
They could have, in my opinion, they could have kept him. Granted, we wouldn't have one or two players that we currently do. They could have kept him, and you could argue whether or not it would be a net positive. In my opinion, it would be, because obviously I'm biased, but at the same time, they haven't addressed the situation yet. And frankly, if they would have kept him, they wouldn't need to address this because they had the solution to their problem and then traded him. And now we're stuck with Sammy Blais,
who is a fourth line winger who barely makes it into the lineup.
Let's be honest, Blais has become a waste of a roster spot, which is just sad at this point because he looked so good as a rookie when the Blues won the cup. There was promise there, and it just has not worked out in any aspect.
When you hurt your ACL like that, it's just, it's hard to return to becoming the same player. Speaking of that, Tom Wilson returned last night.
Yes, he did. And I, unfortunately, was too late in picking him up in fantasy and stashing him on my IR. I was a day too late. But your team is doing good when they're 7-5 and you don't have a goalie ranked in the top 250. So
There you go. Yeah, I'd say you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think I'm doing all right. So, yeah, to answer your question, give me Patty Kane all day over a defenseman who is barely going to make it into the lineup.
Patty Kane or Tarasenko? Would you rather have?
Give me actually.
And keep in mind, retained both at 50%. Tarasenko would be 3.25. Would be a little bit over 3.5 million. Kane would be 5.5 million.
You know
Got
what?
that connection though.
Give me Patty Kane. And
Kane.
here's why. Okay, this is if it's doable via salary cap.
Right.
He has the past connection and the chemistry with Panarin. If for some reason that doesn't work, you can put him with Zibanejad. Imagine Zibanejad and Patrick Kane on a line.
I will tell you, there's no way Kane and Panarin don't work. I mean,
It will work. I'm just saying for some hypothetical reason, if it doesn't.
Well, here's what I would do, honestly, and then I gotta go to work here. But what I would
Yeah,
do
I'm
is,
kind of keeping you. Sorry.
it's fine. Oh, I love the conversation. Trust me, I wish I didn't have to work today. I wish Panarin would be on the left, Zibanejad in the middle, Kane on the right, and just make that your first line. And then you're able to keep Kreider, VC, and Trocheck together on your third line. Your kid line becomes your second line, and then you're at a fourth line by committee. You roll into the playoffs with that and add in a top four defenseman on the on the right side, Igor playing at his best. That's the team I want to see in the playoffs. That's the team we need to see in the playoffs.
Well, we got 41 more games to enjoy for the rest of the season, and the trade deadline's a little over a month away. So we're definitely going to be coming back to this.
He's calling.
He's calling, all right. Just to before you go here, let me check Cap Friendly real quick to see how much cap space the Rangers currently have. And the answer to that question, current cap space 3.1 million, deadline cap space 7 million. I have no clue how that works, and I'm not going to try to 4D chess galaxy brain this in the moment because you got to go to work. But I mean, there's definitely some weak links on this team that we could trade for a late round pick and just cut bait a la Sammy Blay. But I mean,
Right on. And $7 million in cap space at the deadline is huge. And that means that you don't necessarily, I mean, of course you'd like to, but you don't necessarily need 50% retained from Chicago, which would, subsequently drive the price up. You can get Kane at 25% retained and still make it work under the cap. Remember, he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. So isn't he? Or does he have?
no, he's unrestricted at the end.
Yeah, he's unrestricted. So, the Rangers don't have to worry about that term and, paying him that amount of money moving forward when you have to pay your kids. So
now here's a thought. 50, if
yeah,
we get him at 50% retention, that way
yeah.
we have that extra 1.5 to 2 million to work with to potentially add another person.
Yeah. I'll tell you exactly who I want.
Tyler Mott.
And no, not Tyler Mott. I want a defenseman. I want Luke Schenn from Vancouver. I want to go and I want to bring him in the Stanley Cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2020. I think he'd be a really nice fit. I don't know if Vancouver would trade him. I mean, of course, they're in the gutter right now, but look out for Luke Schenn. I that would be a nice underrated piece to add to the blue line, I feel like, on that right side. So we'll see.
Personally, I would pass on Schenn because I think there's better options available. But
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,